Hey, welcome back to the channel. If you're a person who struggles with chronic lower back problems, then this is going to be an extremely important video for you. The biggest problem that I see when it comes to lower back issues is that over time people become very fearful of moving their lower back. And I get that, but there's a long-term cost to just immobilizing yourself. And we also see that people get advice sometimes from medical professionals that they should not move their lower back. That kind of adds to the fear. That's bad advice. Immobilizing yourself is not the answer. So today in this video, we're going to take what I think should be the most obvious first step when it comes to resolving long-term lower back problems, and that's learning how to move your lower back. Because one of the reasons why so many people have lower back problems is a really simple reason. They have really poor movement maps when it comes to moving their lower back. So their brain just doesn't see that part of their body very well because they don't have good proprioception in regards to the lower back. That's what we call a lousy movement map. So today, rather than immobilizing you or telling you don't move your back because it's unsafe, we're going to take that first step. We're going to start training. We're going to do that with a really simple exercise that I'm going to teach you that is extremely high percentage. Are you ready? Let's do it. Before I get into the exercise demonstration, you need your baseline assessment. And if you've been following me, you already know what that is. If you are new here, welcome. You need a baseline assessment so that you can understand how your brain and your nervous system is perceiving the exercise that we are about to try. So what does that mean? Well, for our purposes right now, we'll keep it really simple. Just use a range of motion assessment. It can really be any movement that you want. It could be as simple as bending over and touching your toes, right? And taking a qualitative assessment of how that feels and how far you go. Sometimes we do some trunk rotations. Again, take that qualitative assessment, but you could also use kind of a more global movement like a squat, or if you find that you don't want to do any of those movements because they may feel uncomfortable for you, then you could simply use walking as your assessment. The main thing is that you have some way of understanding how your brain is perceiving the exercise in the moment, better, same, or worse, because that will guide you on your next steps. So get that baseline assessment. The drill is called a wall-supported lumbar half circle. So we're going to be targeting the lower back, the lumbar spine segments, and we're going to be learning how to flex the lumbar spine and basically move in a circular fashion. You'll see what I mean here in just a moment. You don't need any special equipment. You do need a wall because it's going to be wall supported. The wall is going to act as kind of a feedback mechanism to help you understand where your body is, to help you feel stable, and to give you some feedback through moving away or moving into the wall to help you with more accuracy when it comes to moving your lower back. So here's how we set this up. You're going to lean back into the wall, and your feet are going to be roughly a foot away from the base of the wall. Your knees will be partially bent here. You don't want this to be like a deep squat where now you're really struggling to stay in the standing position. You want to use the wall to your advantage so that you feel very supported, like you could stay here forever. Feet are flat, pointed straight ahead. We've got that bend in the knees. And what I immediately feel is contact with my whole back all the way down to my tailbone against the wall. And that's what we want. From here, you're going to lengthen up through the spine. So think about kind of lengthening through the crown of your head. And the first thing that you're going to learn how to do is laterally bend. So that looks like this. Literally just bending to the side and then stacking yourself back up. Now, probably looks pretty simple, maybe looks a little too simple, but this is really important because a lot of folks have no experience laterally bending. So what your intention is here is to keep your head, neck, and arms relaxed, and you'll feel some muscular effort through your core pulling you into the position. Like I literally feel muscles contracting through my side. And and I feel a little stretch on the opposite side. There's no reason to stay there and hold the stretch. What we're really trying to do is actively mobilize your lumbar spine. So you're going to do that maybe 3 to 5 times to get comfortable with that. Make sure that when you bend, your pelvis doesn't lose contact with the wall, either in this plane, like you just saw, or kind of a twisting, where you feel like one side come away from the wall. Remember, the wall is your friend here. It's helping you understand what's happening during the movement, because if you have poor movement maps for your lower back, you're going to try to compensate in certain ways. And what we're trying to do is use the wall to help prevent that, but also to use it as a way or a means of learning, okay? So you laterally bend to the right, get comfortable there. Lengthen up, same process. Laterally bend to the left. Again, shoulders, arms, head and neck, nice and relaxed. What I typically see is people will kind of shrug their shoulders and build tension in their neck as they lift themselves back up. We want the movement coming from the midline, okay, particularly the trunk, right? And when you stack yourself back up, it just should be pretty relaxed. Your head will come last like a rag doll, okay? So that's the first step here, is to get comfortable with laterally bending. And if you do that accurately and you hit the target, it should feel good, right? It should feel nice. Now, the last part here is mapping the forward part, okay? And all this is going to come together in just a couple of minutes here when we start creating the circle. I get into the same position. I lengthen up. My back is in contact with the wall. And now what I'm going to do is start peeling my spine off the wall, beginning from up high and working lower and lower and lower until I flex over as much as I can, meaning I feel my abdominals contracting, they're shortening to pull me forward. Notice how my head, my neck, my arms are still relaxed, but here's the key. When you get to the bottom of that movement, you're trying to reach your end range of motion that's pain-free, but you don't want your pelvis and hips coming away from the wall. Oftentimes people will do this, they'll start flexing, 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 and then all of a sudden, they hinge into their hips and their sacrum comes away from the wall. That is going to cause you to miss the target that we're after, which is the lumbar spine. So keep your sacrum against the wall, lengthen up, peel yourself off the wall, flex all the way down, go as far as you can with comfort, and then retrace that same movement all the way back up to that long spine position. And you'll just practice this again, maybe 3 to 5 times, trying to get comfortable with feeling what we would refer to as your end range of motion. The largest range of motion that you have without losing contact of the sacrum against the wall. You'll feel your abs contract. You will possibly feel a gentle kind of stretch sensation on your lower back. That's good. So this is the first step, mapping the lateral flexions, the rights and the lefts, and then mapping the forward flexions. And in a moment, we're going to put it all together for the lumbar half circle. All right, so now that the basic mapping is done, we have 3 targets. We have a right target, a forward target, and a left target. We're going to start stringing that together to create what we're calling the lumbar half circle. The setup is exactly the same. So I'm going to get my wall support, knees bent away from the wall, sitting back into the wall, and I feel full contact from the kind of the mid-back area all the way down to my sacrum. Now from here, first move, lengthen up. So I'm in a good posture to start. Relax my arms and shoulders. First thing I'm doing is laterally bending. I'm going to move to my end range of motion, or the range of motion that's comfortable and pain-free. And now from here, watch this, because it's a little bit nuanced. My top shoulder, in this case my left shoulder, is going to start falling forwards. Okay? And now I'm in position to begin my circle, where I'm moving all the way through to what is now the forward position. And we've been here before, right? We've mapped this. And as long as my sacrum is still in contact with the wall, I'm in good position here. From here, we're going to keep circling all the way around, and then eventually you'll meet the wall, and that's good. The wall's giving you feedback as to what this pure lateral flexion feels like. And now it's time to take that top shoulder, kind of bring it back up, and then eventually the whole trunk will follow as I stack myself back up and my head comes last, kind of like a rag doll. Okay, so let's do that again. Lengthen up, side bend, drop the shoulder, start my circle. Feel a nice stretch through the lower back here. I'm staying in contact with the wall in terms of my sacrum. Circling all the way through the front. Now I'm starting to get that nice stretch feeling through the opposite side of the low back. Circling, circling, circling. I can't move any further now because I've hit the wall. Top shoulder starts coming back. Trunk comes up, head comes last. Okay? So, as I was describing before, the main thing that you want to be careful of is building unwanted tension in your arms, shoulders, and neck. What we often see, because this is so foreign for people to target the lower back like this, is they go like this. They already have neck tension and shoulder tension when they laterally bend, kind of because they want to keep their eyes on the horizon, right? It's very foreign for them to start moving their head through space. Then they do this. Now they've got a lot of neck tension in the back of the neck. And then they come around and maybe you see stuff like the pelvis coming away from the wall. Or they do an okay job, but they start stacking themselves back up, kind of lifting themselves with their shoulders and neck, almost like they're a puppet, right? Being lifted by strings that are attached to their upper body. We don't want that. We want you to be able to move in a very relaxed way and come back to the starting position. Let's go in the other direction now. Lengthen up. Now I'm bending to the left. Now my top shoulder is the right shoulder. I start dropping it. Do not let this opposite pelvis and hip come away from the wall. We don't want that. Start my circle. Make sure I'm at my end range of motion. Circle all the way around. There's the wall. Stack myself back up. My head comes last. And that's it. That is your lumbar half circle with wall support. Okay, the key is the wall, right? There are other iterations of this exercise that we progress people to, but this is where it starts, because when you have the support from the wall, you don't have to worry about balance. You don't have to worry about stability. And all of your attention can go to hitting the target, which is moving the lower back. So the wall is important. Use it for feedback. Allow it to help teach you, and watch the video multiple times if you have to, because that's how you're going to learn. Most people will not get this on the first try. In fact, if I was there to give you a grade, you'd probably be like a D, right? Honestly speaking, people have a very hard time isolating movement to their joints, and as soon as we do it with the lower back, because that is so foreign, people really struggle with it. So, practice. It's not going to come on the first try. Now, the last thing to remind you of here is to assess. You need to use the assessment process to make sure that your brain is perceiving what you're doing in a good way. Remember, your brain and your nervous system will either give this the happy stamp or the sad stamp, right? And sometimes if you're getting a regression in your range of motion assessments, it means that you need to work harder at hitting the target and you just need to get better at the movement. But you might also discover that you need to change something about your technique, or perhaps you're going too far into the range of motion and you need to regress it a little bit. Whatever the case might be, you'll have to practice so that you don't just drive up threat levels doing this. Now, if you get a high payoff response, which is probably what's going to happen for most people, as long as you do a reasonable job with hitting the target, that's great. That's going to go into your high payoff toolbox, and you can take this drill out of that toolbox and use it multiple times in a day if that's what you need for kind of pain management throughout the day. It can also be a part of your training if you're already doing other forms of fitness. Throw it into your warm-up. Combine it with other exercises to help reduce overall threat. Use it as a cool down. You can really put those high payoffs, kind of insert them into anywhere in your life that you want, and that will help reduce threat overall, which is great for making long-term progress. All right, there it is. Step 1 for improving your lower back health through learning how to move your lower back. Listen, at this point in my career, I don't even know how many people have come to me for back pain and told me that they've tried everything. And when I ask them, have you tried learning how to move your lower back? They kind of look at me confused. Some of them think, I thought I wasn't supposed to do that because that's the area where I have the problem. And I just go on to educate and to start the process here that we've started for you. And the result is always amazing. People try this intervention, that intervention, this therapy, that therapy, and they just forget the obvious, or they just simply don't know that you have to train your back to move properly. You have to map better proprioception. In this case, you have to learn how to move the joints in your lower back. And in doing that, it will pay dividends. This is step 1. There's definitely more to do, but this is the foundation, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you really spend some time in learning how to do this exercise, because it is amazing what it could do for you. Now, finally, if you like this video, give it the thumbs up. Feel free to comment. I would love to help you out, and your comments really help us. It helps drive everything. It helps us get the word out to people when you give the thumbs up and you actually comment. Share what's happening for you. I would really like to know what happened with your assessments. You know, was it better, same, or worse? And that can actually give me some information to help you further in this process. So finally, if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, please do that. Again, it really helps, and we are really grateful for your support. So thank you for watching this, and I'll see you soon.